NFTs started life as digital collectibles, but as they go mainstream, dozens of new use cases are being explored. And this includes using that NFT sitting in your digital wallet as collateral to borrow money. Benjamin Stani, Business Development and Sales Director at Matrixport, a crypto financial services company serving both institutional and individual investors, joins in to talk about just that. Great to have you with us, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
Benjamin, now so far, people have largely looked at NFTs as a means of collecting digital art, but the underlying tech has a lot of potential for developing financial products in the DeFi space. What do you think?
Yes, you're absolutely right. NFTs are so much more than just expensive JPEGs that you can collect. A lot of them have turned out to be entry tickets to virtual communities or can become part of your digital identity. They can be in-game assets or have a functionality in the Metaverse. So the point here is a lot of them also have utility. And so naturally there's people who want to use this utility. There's people who want to invest in this utility, and there's people who want to build on top of it. We at Matrixport, we're at the forefront of that, and we just published a report about the financialization of NFTs, to what you alluded to before. We include information about rental, fractionalization, and other derivatives that are built on top of that.
Well, there are dozens of platforms like Arcade and NFT-Fi, besides numerous others, where one can borrow money using NFTs as collateral. Now, they've seen tremendous growth despite charging eye-watering levels of interest, which can run into 50 to 60% in extreme cases. What's driving this growth?
We're right now witnessing the financialization of NFTs. And by nature, these tokens are non-fungible, which primarily impacts liquidity and therefore makes them, in general, less suitable as collateral than, let's say, fungible tokens. However, using non-fungible assets as collateral is actually not something new. If we look at our physical world, for example, a house or a flat is a unique asset, so it's non-fungible. But of course, you can borrow against it. So the question is, why not against an NFT? Especially if it's a high value NFT that belongs to a collection where you have an active liquid market in it. You could take the floor price, for example, look at the attributes of the NFT and how rare they are in the collection, and then determine the price. That is similar how you would look at the real estate price by determining the price in an area, and then look at how your house is worth, despite the house actually not being traded. So we are also planning to accept high profile NFTs as collateral soon. I stress here high profile because I do believe that there's a long tail of NFTs that are probably not even worth the gas that has been used to mint them.
And finally, what would you say are the main risks for those lending against tokenized assets? Given the lack of regulation and oversight by centralized agencies, is there an increased chance of scams and digital thefts?
I think the risk is actually twofold, yeah. So the first one with NFT lending as collateral is actually the same risk that you would have when you do collateralized lending with other assets. It's the risk that the asset itself loses value and the loan can't be recuperated. This can happen by overestimating liquidity or poor risk pricing. And again, in our physical world, that's not something that's unusual. Let's take the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis in the US, for example. That might be an example. The other angle, however, is more unique to digital assets. A malicious actor can abuse a smart contract loophole, or they can just simply hack your wallet and transfer the NFTs out. And because how young our industry is, there isn't much of a legal oversight or actually law enforcement to such acts. To be quite frank, it's not even clear that all of these acts are actually representing a violation. But of course, you want to protect yourself. So how do you do that? Well, a good way of mitigating this risk is using cold storage and a trusted custodian. And safeguarding our assets, I think, is something that should be highest of your priority, especially in crypto and digital assets for the long run.
All very valid points right there, Benjamin. And we are just at the inception point of understanding the potential of NFTs. Thank you so much for joining us today with all the insights, Benjamin.
Thank you for your time.